What up, bosses? Your man MBR going to be finally bringing you my Q&A. So about a month ago, a few of you bosses dropped me some questions that you'd like answered, and wow, here we are with some Nasus ultra rapid fire gameplay. Ultra rapid, gonna stack your ass off gameplay, more like. I wanted to really bring some epic Nasus gameplay where I got like 2,000 stacks. Truth be told, I never even got 1,000 stacks. Not for lack of trying. I tried about 15 games with Nasus in ultra rapid fire mode, and I did stack up reasonably well. Some games better than others, because depending on who you're going against. And one game I went against a Karma, and she was constantly spamming her Q in the mid lane, and it was impossible to actually farm. But the main reason I never could get to 1,000 stacks, I think around about the highest was around about 800, and I got 700 a few times, was because the games just end so quickly. You get certain champs that once they get a few kills, like an Eve or something, who just absolutely destroys Fiora. I wrecked this Fiora, I killed her about 10 times in a row in the mid lane, and then I don't know, she hit some item peak, and Jesus Christ, I stood no chance. So we got some matchup against Wayne Davis here. We are going tank Nasus here. It's a fun bit of gameplay, so you can watch that in the background whilst I answer your question that you bosses left me. So starting off, quite a few of you bosses asked me the same sort of questions, so I've tried to round it up. My specs of my computer and my sort of cost of my setup. So computer-wise, my computer is about 6 years old now. I bought it, yeah, about 6 years old. I bought it mainly when I was at college to do sort of video editing, and played a lot of sort of StarCraft 2 back then on it. And it was, I think it cost me around about £1,800 I paid for my computer, which is quite a bit of money, and you could probably get something pretty solid, well, especially my stats, like I say, are really old now, but you could probably get something pretty solid for around the 800 to 1,000 mark. It depends on how you want to future-proof yourself. That's where I looked, and that's why I spent so much money on my computer. So when I did buy it, i7 wasn't out at the time, or it was out at the time, but it was the sort of thing what cost the money. I mean, it was about £1,000 I paid for my processor, whilst there was, I think it was i3 was out in the stores. So if you went into your local PC store, they'd probably only have i3 there, so skipping to i5, and I went straight to i7. So the way I looked at it is I wanted to future-proof my computer, so my processor now I'm still using 6 years later, and it still can render. It does struggle with like 60 FPS. I would like to do more, but from what I've been told, even if I went for I would have to chuck another maybe grand at my computer for a new processor, because I'd want to future-proof it again. And would it really make much of a difference? I don't know, but handles all my rendering capabilities and everything I want to do at it. So I went for that bad boy. I'll post the actual stats in the video, so it's quite a mouthful to read out. I've got 12 gigabytes of Corsair RAM. Again, the RAM's pretty old, 6 years old. The RAM's going to be a lot better now, and I'd probably want to get sort of maybe like 2 16 gig sticks in there. At the moment, I think there's like 6 2 gig sticks maybe, or 3 6. You want the less sticks the better, really. So again, you know, my computer is a little bit dated, but it handles everything I wanted to do. At the time, it was pretty solid RAM. I had I think it was a 280 NVIDIA graphics card. I updated that about 2 years ago. I did everything I wanted to do. My friends were always quite surprised how I was able to play like Battlefield, and I was always running on good specs. But I've recently bought a EVGA, I don't know how the best way you pronounce that, EVA, or it's not EVA because there's a G in it, but a GTX 780. Well, I think that was about £350 I spent for that, which was a really nice graphic. It was the best, again, I went for the best thing out at the time, and that was that. But now 2 years later, it's pretty dated. The problem with computers, they get outdated really quickly. My power supply, I had to update that, so it was only my graphics card and power supply I've updated of late. Is the Corsair Platinum 860 watts, as my previous, I think I had like a 600 watt power supply, and it just couldn't handle, it wouldn't start, it couldn't run the graphics card. And you do have to be kind of careful, because you could blow out your computer if you did that. And I've got an old motherboard, an Asus Rampage 2. Yeah, and also I did actually update my case. I try and find the name for my case. I think I paid about £80 for the case, just because I wanted a bigger one. But the problem with my motherboard, where it's outdated, it doesn't actually run USB 3.0, but it doesn't really seem like I'd have to buy a new motherboard, and then really I wouldn't want to remove the processor, so I had to buy a new processor. It doesn't really seem worthwhile actually doing it all, but it does the job. And again, like I say, you could probably pick up something pretty solid, well, a lot more better than my computer that's on time, for about £1,000. But it depends, like I say, do you want to future-proof yourself? Do you want something to do it now, and then maybe in a year's time it's outdated? Mouse-wise, my mouse and keyboard, for my mouse I use a Logitech G502 as a Pro Spectrum. I think there's like their new mouse. Before I was using like an old laptop mouse, which cost me like £10. I had a really nice, I think it was a Black Ops Mad Catz one. Really liked it. This is actually like a similar sort of model to it. Really nice sort of curves around your hands. The previous one I could add weights to. but it broke, and then I was just using a shitty laptop one, which cost me about a tenner for the last 2 years, and my friend finally convinced me in getting a new mouse, and it's been really nice. So that was about £60 I paid for my mouse. My keyboard, I use a Razer Black Widow Chroma, really nice keyboard. The only thing is with the Chroma, I paid, I think it was about £60 to have these lights in. You can do some really cool lightning effects. You can have it like do all rainbows, flags and everything, but to be honest, I don't even use that. I didn't even change the colour of the lights on it. So for the extra £60 I paid, it was a waste of money. I'm a big sucker to give it. My previous keyboard, I think it was a Logitech, something that actually had a screen on there where you could watch YouTube videos, but it was only like a 3-inch screen, so like the size of your penis. So you put your penis on your keyboard, you know. But yeah, like, I didn't use that ever. It did have a cool thing, like when I was like playing World of Warcraft or League, you could actually get your stats up, like all my gold per minute. But the thing was that you actually had to have a power supply to run the keyboard, and half the time I don't know what I've done with the power supply, because it's just annoying that you have to have this in. So yeah, I get sucked into these gimmicky things. But this new keyboard, Razer's a really nice keyboard, but I think you can pick up just a standard Black Widow for about £100. I would recommend doing that. The Chroma just really isn't worth the money. Like, it just gets on your nerves having all these flashing lights in the dark room. It looks cool for the moment, but then it gets, yeah, really annoying. My headset, I've had that for, I think, since 2013 when I come back from Thailand. I lived out in Thailand for a little while, and then I decided I wanted to upgrade my setup, so I got a new headset. It's what I'm wearing right now. It's Astro 850. They are wireless. The battery is not too bad. It used to be a lot better. I think it probably lasts for about 3-4 hours now. But the cable is just a standard cable, and it's a really comfy headset. It has sort of broken somewhere, I don't know, it's broken somewhere a little bit, but a bit of super glue holds it back together. But a really nice headset. I think it was about £250 I paid. They've got a lot of newer models out now, so you probably pick up a cheaper one. But it is a really nice headset, really comfy. Again, you know, wireless, everyone says wired is better, which is true, but it is nice to have that sort of luxury. The reason I went for the wireless is I think I had 3 Turtle Beaches, the same one. I always got the same Turtle Beach. It was about £70. But the problem I found with was that there was such a big cable that come with it. It was constantly, or twice they broke on me because the cable was just getting tangled and it messed it up. My chair, which is behind me, is a DX Racer. It's the King series. I think that was about £350. I really should have bought a gaming chair a long time ago. I've always used crappy chairs and it's done my back no favours. This is certainly. I don't necessarily it helps my posture, I guess maybe in some ways it does, but it's a lot more comfier. And when you're sitting at the computer, for me, I could sit at a computer, I could sit there all day, you know, 12 hours, maybe more. Certainly a lot more when I was playing games a few years ago, when I didn't really have anything else going on. You know, I sat on the computer till like 8 in the morning most days, like every morning, or I'd wake up about 5 o'clock at night and I'd be sat on the computer till like 8 in the morning. So having a good chair is definitely recommended. And then monitor-wise, I've got 2 LG 24 inches. They're nothing special. Something I do actually want to get as a new monitor at some point, but like the decent ones, you're looking for about £500–600. So I don't know. I would like to get one, but at the same time, I only really play League of Legends. It's probably a bit of an overkill. My whole setup's a bit overkill considering I only play League of Legends, but it's nice to have. So all in all, I don't know. My setup's I've probably chucked to like almost £3,000, I guess, at my setup over the time. But for me, you know, people will go out and buy a new car. My friend, a good friend of mine, has just gone out to buy a car for £15,000, second-hand car. I'd much rather chuck £15,000 at a whole new setup. You'd have a goddamn beastie setup, but for £3,000, I can get this and I can get a cheaper car. You know, for me, a car doesn't really. Well, I do have a car, but it's not my sort of interest. You know, I'd happily just. I've got a convertible, which is pretty nice, but you know, I wouldn't go for one of these expensive. I wouldn't go for necessarily a Ferrari. If I had a load of money, I would, but I'd much rather put that money into a new computer because that's what I'm going to get my use out of. That's the way I look at it. So basically that covers my setup. Hopefully that does answer your boss's questions. Again, if you have any more questions or any you'd like to know more in detail, then let me know in the comment section below and we can do another Q&A video if you bosses wish. So, how did I get my name? That's a good question. Well, basically my name, so we're going by Mr. Big Russ, I guess you mean by that. Well, I'm Russell, my name's Russ, short for, or normally a lot of people call me Russ, it's a lot shorter. I do prefer Russ, it's just a bit easier. And I'm a big guy. I certainly was a lot bigger. I've lost a lot of weight recently. I've lost about 7 stone over the last year. I was one fat motherfucker. Still pretty big now, but just not doing any exercise and eating pizzas and bread and all that. I'm going to do a bigger video talking more about that if you guys are interested in sort of how I lost my weight, or just sort of talking about it, like maybe yourself feels overweight and how you come about it. Because it's not necessarily an easy thing to do. It's really easy to put the weight on, but to lose it, there's that. So as a kid, I was always quite big, so I guess that's where it sort of come from, as Mr. Big Russ. I was big, I'm a Mr. Obviously being a bloke, we couldn't be Mrs. Big Russ, maybe unless you're like some ladyboy transvestite or something. But yeah, so that's where Mr. Big Russ basically comes from. And then also MBR for short, which is Mr. Big Russ, just all hyphenated. There you go. How did I start gaming? That's a good question. I think I started gaming when I can't remember how old I was. I might have been about 5 or 6. These are the days where the internet, if you wanted the internet, you had to have dial-up. So all you guys are spoiled by the internet now. But if you ever wanted to actually have the internet, you had to have this like dial-up thing. So if someone actually called your house phone, it would cut the internet off. But I didn't really get into internet gaming until I was around about 16. I was about 6. I was playing a Sega Saturn. That was my first ever console. My dad bought me. I remember there was a game called Clockwork. I used to love that game. You were like this knight, and you had a big key, and you had to save the princess, and you fight all these dudes, and it was so cool. Problem is the game never saved, so every time I ever quit or went left, I'd always have to frickin' start from scratch. The joys of old school gaming right there. Some games did save, in all fairness, so that was probably what picked me up into gaming, was the Sega Saturn. And then I remember getting a Game Boy a few years later when that first came out, getting Pokemon Red when that was, and didn't even have colour on the Game Boys back then, and Mario. And my love of gaming really started from there. I was always sort of into sort of single player games, and then StarCraft or Unreal Tournament 3 was the first sort of real game what I picked up for online. My mum got me a PS3, and it was the first online game I think I actually ever played was Unreal Tournament 3. It was like the first online game for the PS3, and I loved it. I spent so much time on that game. The highest I ever got was 6th. I was ranked 6th in the world. I don't know if it's the world. I don't know how it actually works on the PS4, if it's a European-based server or a bigger server, America. I'm not really too sure, but I was ranked 6th, and I've always stayed around in the top 10, but I did play a shitload out of that game. Similar to how much I spent on the League, I guess, and that's how I did actually put on a lot of my weight, was I moved to a new place and went to live with my mum instead of my dad. I had no friends, so I just played Unreal Tournament all day, every day, basically. So, there's that. What does it take to be a good YouTuber like you? A good YouTuber. I don't know. So there's definitely a lot bigger YouTubers, but I think I like to say that I'm consistent. Try to be consistent and uploading regular content. You know, obviously, I like to do more shorter videos because I think they're a bit more easier to watch than say necessarily my longer gameplays. But you bosses do enjoy the longer gameplays, and they are a lot of fun to make. I do enjoy making them, but I think I like to interact with my fans as well. It depends on what you're trying to call good. Like obviously, you haven't named any of my good benefits, so it's hard to say because you know I just look at myself being normal. I just do what I do. I don't really look at it any other way, but I like to interact with you bosses. A lot of you guys say how much or how you enjoy that I interact with you. And, you know, some dude said I was the first YouTuber to ever reply to one of his comments, and that's something I always like to try and do. I do get quite a few, so sometimes I do miss some, but I always want to try and keep on top of the comments because you guys are what make my channel what it is. If you weren't watching, you know, then I wouldn't be making YouTube videos. It just if you're not there, then I'm not here. So I want to interact with you guys. I want to get your thoughts and opinions and try and do, you know, make videos what you bosses want to see, and also, you know, instead of just me doing what I wanted to do. Do I know Kingdoms of Allah? Amla? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. No, I've never ever heard of it. Never ever, I'm afraid, my friend. What is your favourite console and game? And growing up, what was your favourite TV show? My favourite favourite console, sorry, so PC Master Race all the way these days, but my favourite console was probably the PS2. That was like when it really picked up. I really did enjoy the Sega Saturn and the Nintendo. That was really cool. There was a lot of good consoles in the Xbox. But PS2, they had so many good single-player games on that. It was badass. And also the PS3, like Red Dead Redemption. So favorite game, like I love League of Legends through and through, and it's the game I've spent my most amount of time ever on. But I did really, Red Dead Redemption is probably my favorite game ever. Really, the single player on that was so strong, and then you also had the online. It was amazing. Like, I actually cried at the end when. Well, I don't want to spoil it if you guys never played it, but I did cry at the end. It was pretty. It actually brought a tear to my eye. I'm one tough son of a bitch, but it did bring a tear to my eye. But League of Legends, I've certainly spent the most time on. But if we're going about a console game, definitely Red Dead. Growing up, my favorite TV show, I can't really remember too much. I remember when I was a little kid, I used to love like Rugrats. Rugrats was really cool, like the crappy programs like that. The Chuckle Brothers, to me, to you, they were funny. But I really did enjoy the cartoon comic series. Spider-Man. Spider-Man was my favorite. I love Spider-Man when he was going up against like Venom and Carnage, Kingpin, Dr. Octopus, and the Crocodile Dude. Also, Batman had a really good TV series when I was a kid. I used to enjoy that a lot. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that was sick. I had a crush on her big time. She was tidy. And also, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that was good fun to watch. So yeah, that was probably a few more. I don't know necessarily if I'd say so. I can have a favourite. I definitely spent a lot more time playing games than I did watching TV. What was my inspiration for being a YouTuber? I don't never really have an inspiration, or I just enjoy playing games and I enjoy making videos because I enjoy seeing your guys' feedback and helping you, and maybe it makes someone better at a game, and also having that sort of, even not necessarily that, but just having that sort of community there where we can interact. I enjoy it. So I don't know if there's necessarily an inspiration. I guess in some ways you bosses are my inspiration, because if you're not watching my videos then I wouldn't be necessarily be inspired to be making them. It's sure if I had like one viewer who was constantly watching my videos I would be inspired, but if there was no one there to watch my videos, you know, I wouldn't really have that inspiration to make them. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to look at it. Why do I like top lane? Why is it my preferred lane? I don't know, I kind of did a bit of everything really, but top I don't know, I always felt I could carry top the hardest. That's how I normally felt. I like sometimes being tanky, and also you could get just like being a tanky dude. Like Nasus, Singe, Vladimir, Renekton are always my favourite top laners, and you could just wreck. You're sort of up in a top lane, you're on your own. Generally it's a lane that gets the least amount of jungle attention, so you're always kind of just chilling there. And wrecking mods, I don't know. I've sort of gone through everything. I've had phases where I really enjoyed the jungle because I felt I could carry games in the jungle, but as time's gone on and I've played less and less League, I guess I've sort of stuck to top because it's what I've known the most. You know, well, there's so many new changes, like with Nasus with the Undying Grass, which obviously I use a lot. Someone saying I don't use it enough, but it's more because I'm stuck in my old ways of doing how I do. I just haven't really, you know, my old ways sort of work some sense, but it could, I could be better at the game if I actually interacted with the newer stuff. But I'm just stuck in my old ways, I guess, and that's why probably I like top lane so much. I'm old school. Have I played a browser game like Dark Orbit or Sea Fight for over 800 hours? I don't think I've played a browser game for over an hour. I can't think of any browser game I've played at all, to be honest, buddy. League of Legends and StarCraft, Unreal Tournament 3 and Call of Duty, like World at War, and Modern Warfare 2 I've spent quite a bit of time on. Probably the amount of games I've really spent any good amount of time on. But definitely League and StarCraft. I spent a lot of time on League. Probably, I don't know how many hours, maybe 5,000, I don't know how many hours. I really don't. I'm glad they don't have an hour counter. I could just look at my games, and I played like 5,000 League games, and I just think, well, like you say, half an hour on average. I'm not even going to get into that. What inspires me to continue playing video games? Well, I guess I've got nothing better else to be. I've got nothing better else to be doing at this time, and I really enjoy playing computer games. So there's that. I don't know. I really have an inspiration. I just enjoy playing computer games. Really, that's that. My favourite MOBA at the moment, I also combine it with the question, what do you like most, Heroes of the Storm or League? Really, League's my favourite MOBA, it's got everything there. League have perfected it down to a T, I feel, and they've still added nice little changes that they've actually taken from like Heroes of the Storm, like with the Chroma packs and the Mastery point system, or the Champion point system, should I say. Heroes I really like because of the characters and the universe they've got, but it's just not competitive enough. And so I do prefer Paragon over Heroes, but it's still got a long way to go. There's just not enough content really in the game at the moment, so there's still a long way to go with Paragon. But League of Legends, it's got everything down to a T. League has been doing it for a while, they're constantly updating it, and they've got it down. I've got a pentakill with Lulu. Unfortunately not. I think I've got a pentakill with like Zac, Master Yi, who hasn't, Kha'Zix, maybe a few others which I can't really think of off the top of my head. What games am I playing, and what game is my favourite? Again, probably Red Dead Redemption would be or League of Legends is my favourite game, but other than that I'd probably say Red Dead Redemption or Heavy Rain. I've really enjoyed Heavy Rain. Really loved the Ratchet and Clank series as a kid as well. That was super cool. I've got the new one for the PS4, but I've not even opened it because I spend too much time playing League. So League takes up everything. League is life. So yeah, what game I play in League? Overwatch when that hits out as well. I've probably been playing like that. Why do I like Nasus? I like Nasus because someone like Dark Voice, who was on my stream the other day, who's a constant viewer of mine, was saying the thing with Nasus, he's quite underpowered in some ways because he gets all these stacks, and if you don't get these stacks, you're really weak. And even if you get these stacks, other tanks can do a better job. Like Nasus doesn't really have anything special other than his stacks. Like we have a Wither, whoop-de-doo, and you have an ultimate which gives me like 500 health at max level and does a little burn. When you can have like a Maokai who sucks, I don't know, 30% damage, and that's for his team as well if they're in that circle. It's crazy. Or you have a Trundle who can steal all these stats. You know, Nasus doesn't really have anything special about him, even if you do have all these stacks. So I enjoy it with Nasus when you do get the stacks. It's a nice feeling. But he is, in some sense, quite weak. He can be quite strong. If you can get ahead of the pace of the game, you can be quite beastie. But I think a lot at the higher levels, people know how to deal with him a lot better, and I've certainly been feeling that. My opinion on Riot constantly changes stuff. I don't mind it, you know. I certainly, like I was mentioned earlier, it's kind of screws me over a little bit because I don't read stuff enough and I'm stuck in my old ways, so I don't really make the most out of the new stuff, I guess. Like, I really don't understand the jungle enough and bits and pieces like that. But they're making the changes for the right things. I think they listen to the pro players, and I think the changes they make certainly make the game better. And they need to make the changes. They need to make like the new dragons. Like, you might not like it at first, but the game needs to be constantly evolving or people are just going to get bored of it, and I think that's what League has done well. It's constantly upgrading the game, because if they don't do it, then, you know, it's just going to suck. Or it's just going to be dated, I guess. That's my opinion. Where do I live? I live in England, in sunny Dorset, which is down like the south of England. We've got like beaches down here, and it's alright. Yeah, it's alright. I'd much rather be in Thailand. I do enjoy it in Thailand. Why are you so good? Don't know. Why am I so good? Good at what? I don't know. I guess my parents brought me up well. They brought me up to be a true boss. How did I become so handsome, smart, and successful YouTuber? I guess my mum and dad must have had really great sex, and then they just spawned this beautiful dude. I wouldn't say I'm really not necessarily a successful YouTuber. There's a lot of people who are a lot bigger than me. I'm very small in the scale of terms. But I think it's just being consistent, really. You know, in some sense, I haven't necessarily been enough consistent with my YouTube channel because I could have done a lot more with it. I have felt, but you know, I don't know. It's a tricky one. I wouldn't say I'm very successful or not successful in any terms compared to other people. But I'm just happy with how my channel's gone. You know, I've got other ways of supporting myself. So I've always just done the channel as a hobby and enjoy playing League and can share my videos with you bosses what I enjoy. How can I be so confident and speak in front of the camera? I don't know, I'm quite a shy person really, to be honest. You know, I don't really have a big group set of friends, and I wouldn't go out and make new friends. You know, I always keep myself to myself, and even with my friends I have at the moment, I'd much rather sit at home playing games by myself. So I don't know, I guess I'm not sure why I'm necessarily confident speaking in front of the camera. I don't mind it, necessarily interacting with you bosses, and I don't know, it's a tricky one. I guess it's just, it is weird because I'm a very shy person in some sense. You know, if I had to go ask someone for something, I'd always sort of maybe hesitate about it. Obviously, as I've grown older, you know, you kind of just got to grow your frickin' balls and get on with it, and that's that. So I don't know. I guess it's just over time I've got more and more confident with it and more acceptable to things. I don't know. Hard. Did you enjoy Nasus as much as you now do now, or you did? Did you hate him? I might have read that wrong. I don't think I can't really remember. I don't think I enjoyed Nasus necessarily as much. I can remember I never built a Triforce on him. This is before Iceborne Gauntlet was out. I never built a Triforce because I thought again, like, this is a problem with League. Even when I was like really good at League in some sense, or I'd say I understood the game better. In some ways I didn't, because I didn't read stuff enough. I always thought the Triforce was shit because why do I want all these stats? It gives me health, it gives me mana. I don't want this. Never reading the actual passives at the bottom, which obviously like duplicates Nasus's damage. Sorry about that, I had to cut out. My mum come barging in. What the fuck, man? You know, we're freaking doing stuff in here. We're speaking to the computer, mum. So yeah, I never used to build a Triforce on him. And I used to kind of wreck, I guess, because we were sort of low level. And then I uploaded a video of my gameplay, and you bosses, like, a lot of it got a lot of views, and there was a lot of good stuff, but there was a lot of bad stuff. I was like, why didn't you build a Triforce? And then I kind of built a Triforce, and I was like, holy shit. Holy shit, I now love Nasus. I've got a newfound love for Nasus. So in some ways I've learned a lot of you bosses through YouTube, because I actually read the comments on YouTube compared to me reading stuff in games, so that does help. Yeah. Am I sponsored? I am sponsored by TGN. Yeah, and do I play the PS4? I do have a PS4, but it was probably the biggest way. Something that wastes money. I do waste my money on some stuff. Like, I buy something and think, yeah. Bought it when Destiny come out and played Destiny for like an hour, and I just come back to League, and that's the problem. I bought Grand Theft Auto 5 when that came out. Actually, that was on the PS3 because the PS4 wasn't out at the time, or I wasn't coming out on the PS4 at the time. Bought that for the PS3 and played that for an hour, and I just come back to League. I always come back to League. So I bought Ratchet and Clank, the new one, come back to League. I not even unopened it, so no, I don't really play the PS4 on anything. Just always come back to League. So there we go, guys. Hopefully I've answered all the questions sufficiently enough. If you would like to know more in depth, or you haven't any questions, maybe you'd like me to do some more frequent Q&A videos, and you can leave me some comments below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the actual gameplay. I was sort of indulging the questions. I've kind of forgot what was going on. We did solo Baron draw on that, and again, you know, he's pretty strong on it. Obviously, there's a lot better champions than Nasus on Ultra Rapid Fire mode, and you come against a teamer who blinds you, you can't even kill him. It's painful, and Fiora does wreck you. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Take it easy and have a great day. Peace. You fucking want to pick Jack against me? Yeah, good stuff, really. Well, he's